Bitcoin is digital gold, a store of value, a commodity. Not just a commodity. You know, if the U.S. seized 10,000 securities, all your artwork, all your houses, your planes, your trains, your automobiles, every currency, you know, everything of value, your diamonds, your gold brooches, your silver, they'd sell it. Right? The only thing the United States does not sell is its national parks, its nuclear stockpiles, and its Bitcoin. Now, that's a shockwave that will be heard around the world. That just happened, literally days ago. It's going to take a while for that to ripple through the entire federal government. Then it will ripple through the state governments. Then it will ripple through the banking system, the insurance system, the credit rating agencies. Then it will ripple to all the banks in Mexico and El Salvador and Argentina and then Europe. It's rippling through the banks in Hong Kong and China and Japan and Abu Dhabi and Europe. How long will it take? Well, how long does it take for a profound good idea to move its way through layers and layers of bureaucracy? It'll take a while, but the innovators will actually grab this, and those that need the money, that want the money, will reach for and embrace the money, and they will be enriched by it, and there will be others that will resist it. But that entire shockwave, right, that explosion in legitimacy, that happened just a few weeks ago, happened on a Thursday night in the White House. And that's profound. We are legitimate. And as I've said before, if Bitcoin's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. Right? It's either nothing or it's something. And if it's something, then it's going up. I talked a little about corporate law. I'm very sensitive to it because I ran a public company for many years. We came public in '98. Every public company in the world is capitalized on one of two things. You're either going to capitalize on short-dated treasuries or sovereign debt, in essence, currency, or you're going to capitalize on a commodity. Well, it turns out that every commodity other than Bitcoin underperforms the S&P index. It doesn't beat the cost of capital. So capitalizing upon silver or gold or palladium or oil makes no sense. There is one commodity that you can put 100% of a corporate balance sheet in. And that one commodity is a digital commodity, and that digital commodity is called Bitcoin. And so what does it mean? It means that for the first time in 100 years, companies can recapitalize, and they are recapitalizing. And what does that mean? That means a company starts by sweeping a little bit of excess cash, and then cash flows, and then it sells some equity, and then it issues some debt, and then another company follows, and another company follows. Right now, there's about 80 companies that are starting to buy Bitcoin, and there's probably 80 ETFs. We're going to see another one every week and another one every week, and pretty soon there'll be hundreds. And those hundreds become the gateways for hundreds of trillions of dollars of equity capital and fixed income capital to migrate into the entire digital assets economy. And you can see it right in front of your face. You see a company like MetaPlanet goes from one hotel being worth a few $1 million to being worth $1 billion in 12 months. Where does it stop? It's not going to stop, right? If you're legitimate, you're corporate, right? You're going to see a transformation of mainstream organizations. Bitcoin is global. Everywhere in the world I go, I meet someone and they say, well, thanks because I bought a Bitcoin for my daughter. Or I bought a Bitcoin for the family. We appreciate what you're doing. And you know what I say? I say thank you because I appreciate what you're doing. Bitcoin is global, Your Apple stock isn't. Your land isn't, right? The artwork that you hold isn't global, right? Bitcoin is a global asset. It means somebody in Nigeria buys it and they're getting the benefit of entrepreneurs in Manhattan. And it means someone in Arkansas buys it, and they're actually in an economic relationship with somebody in Singapore. right? This is not a lowest common denominator thing. You own Arkansas real estate. No one's going to fish you out of that investment. You own Bitcoin, you bury it in your backyard in Arkansas, and you'll wake up in 30 years and find out that someone in Tokyo or London make you rich, right? This is the global asset. There isn't another asset that trades at Wall Street that is global in the way that Bitcoin is, and it's not just global, it's immortal. We're stretching in time and space. Show me an asset that stretches to every part of space that truly is global, Bitcoin. Now show me one that I can see into the next 100 years or 1,000 years. There's nothing else that you own that's going to last 100 years, right? Your warehouse will have to be redone. Your artwork will probably have to be restored, right? What company would you think is going to be around 200 years from now? Right? The real beauty of Bitcoin is the elegance of the protocol is all you're doing is buying 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever. Okay, when is that going to obsolesce? Like when are you not going to want to own 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever? Right? It's not like iPhone 99. It's not like, getting the next upgrade on the whatever gadget. Right? Bitcoin is immortal because the idea is so timeless and so elegant, and the network is just virally going to spread. It's a life form. And if it's immortal, it means you can actually think 200 years in advance. No company expects to live more than 10, 20, 30 years. Everybody's short term. Digital energy. A calorie is organic energy. A Satoshi is digital energy. If you want the AI, if you want to put life in cyberspace, if you want to bring an AI to life, you have to imbue it with digital energy. Then it comes to life. Then it thinks. Then it lives. Then it procreates. Maybe it lives forever. You can't, anything that is funded with digital credit is just a shadow. It's a shade. It's a ghost. If you want something to be a true life form, you have to put real energy into it. I've said many times before, Bitcoin is a conservative asset. I give it to you. I don't have it. It implements conservation of energy in cyberspace, but the more important point is it's going to bring life to cyberspace. If it's digital energy, then Bitcoin's a digital energy network. How do you move energy from point A to point B? How do you vibrate energy, right? How do you do it in a rapid, at the speed of a computer rate? How do you bring the entire world into that relationship? You can't do it with a credit IOU, and certainly you're not shipping gold from New York to Tokyo in a second. If it's an energy network, Bitcoin is a digital economic system. How do you post $10 million for 5 minutes, with a company across the country and fetch it back? Vibration. How do I give it to someone, take it back in 18 seconds? How do I swap a capital asset for a currency asset? We see this in DeFi, right? I'm swapping Bitcoin for stablecoin for Bitcoin, but think more broadly, right? Think about a world of 1 billion robots talking to 1 billion AIs that are thinking at the speed of the computer that want to actually transact millions and millions of times an hour in time and space. They're going to do it with a digital energy network. If it's an energy network, I can reverse it. Bitcoin becomes a digital defense system. Bitcoin is the most powerful network. What's the unit of power? The exahash. If I actually place my cryptographic keys, my identity, my authentication behind that hash wall, behind that wall of digital energy, then I can secure a system, authenticate a system, defend a system, potentially even attack a system. You can't be a superpower if you lose control of your airspace. You can't be a superpower if you lose control of outer space. You can't be a superpower if you lose control of cyberspace. Control of the digital power network, the mining network, the hash network is control of the ability to move energy and capital from point A to point B. Control the network, control your destiny. Lose control of the network, you lose the ability to engage in digital commerce. Maybe you lose the ability to secure your cyber systems. It's a defense system. Bitcoin is an emerging solar system. Everybody says it's a network, and then they go, yeah, I read something about Metcalfe's law. And Metcalfe's law is like knowing enough to hurt yourself. It's not a Metcalfian network. It's a Newtonian network. Bitcoin is an evolving network. Think a star system forming. There is matter, there is energy. It's the brightest thing in the financial universe. It's got a magnetic field. It is slurping energy, capital, into the magnetic field. There are objects in orbit. They're falling into orbit around it. All of you are in orbit around it to a certain extent. Every company, every country, every actor. It is getting more powerful. It will continue to get more powerful. It will continue to get brighter, right? A Metcalfian idea is like a little asteroid went past on the left and a white dwarf went past on the right, and they're both equal. Well, they're not equal. The white dwarf is going to suck the atmosphere off my planet, and the little asteroid is irrelevant. It's like a cute little shooting star. It made a little spark for me, right? This is not a little Metcalfian network. This is a network where when someone brings $1 billion to the network, it matters. When they bring 10 billion, it matters more. When they bring 100 billion, it matters more. The more capital, the more energy that flows in the network, the more powerful, the greater the gravitational field. Eventually, anyone in the orbit, right, has to adjust their trajectory in order to accommodate that gravitational field. You see this thing coming to life in front of you. It's going to have Newtonian dynamics, and it is an energy system emerging.